PDC on me, PDC on 3. 1, 2, 3. PDC! All right, everybody out there, welcome to Retireholics, episode number 5. We are here in San Clemente, California, at the Southern California Retirement Invitational Golf Event. We're at our sponsored hole, the Plan Design Consultant sponsored hole, and hundreds of advisors will be coming our way, right?
Oh,
Later
yeah.
today. But first,
thousands.
We're going to film episode 5. Today we'll be talking about planadvisortools.com, which is a really neat website that's available for advisors out there. We're going to talk about a product-specific tool at Nationwide Financial called the Fund Window.
Yeah, good job.
I used to call it the Mutual Fund Window, but it's the Fund Window. There's going to be a wheel of ice involving Mark, but stay tuned because it won't be ice. It's going to be something else.
I'm not losing this time.
Oh, you won't lose this time.
Yeah, we'll see.
If I lose again, I'll wear a really strange helmet just to protect myself in the case of emergency.
That works.
That's a good call.
Thanks again for tuning in. A lot of people have watched episodes 1 through 4. Like I mentioned before, I think we were kind of getting really good, and we kind of flatlined a bit, and now we're on our way back up.
We
so
are
things
indeed.
are getting bigger and better. So let's dive right into www.planadvisortools.com. Sorry.
Whoop.
What about the beer?
Oh, Jesus.
Come
My
on.
bad, my
Second most
bad.
important
Aren't
part of
you
the show.
thirsty?
Number one's being here.
My bad. I'm too serious. I shouldn't.
So Chad, what do we got here?
Beer of the show is going to be the Retireholics beer. In case you haven't had this, it's full of energy, sarcasm, and hilariousness.
Retirement plan knowledge.
And retirement plan knowledge,
That's the most
intellectual
creative
capital.
thing you've ever said.
I know.
Let's see how it tastes.
Intellectual capital. It's a light beer, little frothy, should go down relatively smooth.
Like water.
The mountain's blue, so it's cold.
Tastes just like Coors Light.
Cheers,
Imagine
fellas.
that, it does.
Oh, true.
Pretty much like
It's
Coors
full
Light.
of that as well. You know what it tastes
guys
like?
are gonna
It
do
tastes like a safe harbor plant.
Good thing. It's a good thing.
All right, we've got our Retireholics beers, and we are going to dive into what I think is really neat. And again, what we're trying to do for our viewers is
That's
give you
ridiculously good.
some guidance, some things that you may not know that exist out there that we think are valuable to your practice. And this one's pretty cool. Planadvisortools.com, put on by the mutual fund company Ridgeworth. And it's got a whole plethora of things. And I know you guys have spent the last week researching it. So we're
You
gonna
said
sort
it
of
was cool, but it's sick.
It's
Like
sick.
it
It
is.
is.
It is
It is.
incredible.
Do you know what my daughter says that it's fleek?
Fleek? Is that the new
I don't even know what that
Fleek?
means.
What?
What is that?
On fleek. Sorry.
On fleek?
On
What is
Is that like on?
Thanks for
So
chiming in on that
it's
one.
Totally
New cool?
on
legit?
fleek.
Like, is that a new way of saying that? The same thing?
So let's dive into it.
One of the coolest parts I thought was a plan benchmark. You know, it allows a plan sponsor to see, where they stack up with, the rest of every other plan sponsor and every plan out there, whether it's comparing to micro or, a macro plan itself. It'll give you, looking at your safe harbor match, where
So
you
it's all
stack up.
provision stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It'll also take a peek at things like your actual plan design. What other companies are actually doing within your same market. It's actually pretty unique tool and something that's
So you have to input data, right?
right.
I mean, so the advisor goes on, he logs in, he inputs some data regarding the client or prospect, or even if you're using it generically, a generic
pump out
prospect, you
results.
can
Right.
pump out this result.
But you
so
put
there's
in what the
whole
match
questionnaire
is,
that you go through.
the vesting.
It's going to ask you, I don't know,
do you have auto enrollment? Do you
Yeah.
have Roth? That type of
Yeah.
jazz.
And it
right?
comes
Basic
back
stuff.
and gives you a nice comparative of what similar companies in your segment size, same number of employees are doing regarding structure
right.
of the plan.
Exactly.
The output is
cool.
something you typically see during an annual fiduciary review meeting.
Right.
Our
That-
plan
that
sponsors
type of-
wanna know-
that type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
data, but now you get it up front, so you can actually leverage it in different ways, right?
And-
you could
and-
take it on point
yeah.
of sales. You could take
Exactly.
it, do fact finding with it.
And
So
one of the
it's-
things that I liked so much about it was that it ties into our Smart Easy Awesome so much, to the fact that, from a plan sponsor's point of view, it's easy to read, easy to understand, very straight to the
Functional.
point. The whole layout of it is very clean and right there in front of you.
And this is one of many
multiple
things that are on that website. So that's one that you highlighted.
We get asked all the time as we're talking with advisors, how are different providers stacking up? What's the cost of the different programs? Who's out there really competitive from a cost perspective? They have a cost benchmarking as well.
So in addition to the design, there's a cost.
And again, they simplified it. They made it rather easy. So they'll break it down by what your record keeping costs are, what your investment management costs are, what your consultant or advisor costs are. And instead of just saying what the industry average is, they put it in a structure that shows what the higher side of fees are for that one type of service.
But again,
the
you're
lower
inputting
side.
in your plan set.
Yeah, you got to go in. So, but in
No,
my
that's
mind,
fine. That's cool. I'm not ribbing on that.
Back to marketing side of things, if you're taking this in on a fact finding and you're saying you already know the size of the client, so it's a micro market plan, it's a $3 million plan, and you're walking in and you're saying, hey, this is what 1 to 5 looks like with a company of your demographics, geographical location.
You're towards the high end, or
it's fantastic. And so you can go in armed to not only fact plan, but also get a feel for where they stack up, what it might look like if you're trying to win this business.
So those are two tools to summarize on this site that you could use not only in fiduciary reviews with your own clients, but you could use in your sales game in terms of point of sale and stuff like that.
Those are good sort of output type content things that are useful out in the marketplace. But really something I thought was cool, and again, kind of nerdy, but this is what we're all about, is you can just go on and utilize it as a portal or a hub for just general information, but
there's
really,
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, really straight to the point, what you need. It's not no fluff, no nothing. It's what you need and what we use every day. So there's websites. There's a part in there where it's free ERISA, ASPA, all the different ones that we all go to daily or weekly that you can leverage and use.
And Mark, to clarify, when you say hub, what you mean is a place that people can go to advisors on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's like going somewhere, it's say grabbing a cup of coffee and reading front page of news, right? If you're in the industry, you want something quick. They have a great blog. It's right when you log in now. They're really pushing that, and I clicked on it to look at it, and it's really good topics. It's quick, it's easy, it's to the point.
This is the same site that had the Fred Reich podcast. I know it's dated, which they need to update that if Ridgeworth pays. I doubt Ridgeworth watches.
Are you kidding me? They're our number one subscriber.
So there's Fred Reich podcasts there, but they're a little dated. But a lot of the other stuff's brand new.
Yeah, I think one was written just like, I don't know, in September, but it was. I just like that you could go there, have a cup of coffee, you read an article, and you're gonna get some content. What
I realized as I started to poke through the blog and some of the materials is, it really is what we do when we communicate in mornings as a team and as someone who focuses in the industry, is we chat about what we're seeing out there.
Yeah,
and that's what this blog is all about. It's live industry topics by real industry people. They're not trying to necessarily give you any fluff. They're telling you, this is what you should know in a quick one-stop shop.
I want to add one more application you could use it for. And by the way, we've only scratched the surface on a couple of things that are there. I saw tons of white papers, podcasts, blogs, videos, stuff on improving your brand, like how to make your brand better as an advisor.
Private label too, you notice that? You can private label most of the stuff.
Tons of stuff there. But one of the things I liked was those white papers, which sounds boring, white papers, right? But advisors are always asking us, hey, can you give me content that I could drip on my prospects, Something that I could show them, hey, I'm still here, and here's something that I think's interesting for you to read. There it is. It's right there for you at planadvisortools.com.
I think I've talked to JD briefly about this, and I don't think I've mentioned it to you guys, but I'd like to link that site to our Academy site. So many of these of our followers, people watching the shows, are going to the Academy site to pull materials, to look at Advisor Hub, to gather some of the stuff that we as a team have put out there. I think if we link this on there, it's just another step of support.
More tools there. Advisor support, it's huge.
And let's be honest, we're out there running hard. They've got a team of people updating this stuff.
So you just did a
real
good plug
time,
there. You just get a good plug there. So most people probably don't know. If you go to 401kacademy.com, there's a bunch of information there, but then there's an advisor hub. Hey, you're still our word.
Pun intended.
And in that hub, there are breakdowns of different areas like sales, prospecting, client retention, and we try to keep it up. And there's great stuff there. Go check it out, But we're not Ridgeworth, right? We don't have the resources. We'll try to.
Their site's a little more sexy, if you will. It's got some moving things. It's flashy.
Don't make me cry about 401k Academy, dude. I work
You need to cry. Crying's good. It's healthy.
Check them both out, but probably go to Plan Advisor Tools first.
We'll start with us, then
and then you can get in. Yeah, there you go.
We will add the Plan Advisor Tools link to 401kacademy.com.
Coming soon.
See it. That's a tool.
There you go.
But you can go there without it.
And reach out with questions. You know, Ridgeworth's running around, we're running around. I'm telling you, I'm going to start using it. It's been a week, but I see a number of applications of what they're producing there that we can use.
We'll try to come to future Retireholics shows with similar types of things that are out there. So check it out. We only scratched the surface. There's a ton of valuable tools and pieces and education on that site. So
Right here
comes
Look at the size of this thing.
Dun, dun,
wheel
dun, dun.
of ice. And
Every show it
it's
just
bigger
gets
and better.
bigger and better.
By the time we get to
It's gonna
episode
be a
15, it's
Ferris
going to be
wheel.
like a
Well, hold on, is it really a
size
wheel
of
of
an
ice
air
today?
balloon.
Yeah, of
No.
course.
Well, it's the wheel of
Yeah,
ice,
it is a
but
wheel of
okay,
ice.
it's what's it going to be today? The wheel of
Delicious and sure.
I probably should have had your wife
Mark's
come do this.
beverage for consumption. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark hasn't lost yet. We'll see how this works out. But I see.
not all
So we
of
got
them.
Marky
It's
the
got a lot of
Riveter,
competitors.
Miami Mark, Mo Mark, Marky Mark.
I want to
Marky
be clear,
Lisa,
just
Marcus.
in case I lose. It's
Never know what that one
lukewarm
is.
and
Oh,
it's nasty.
Marking chicken scratches.
I pray I don't
what
lose.
is the
Spin that
braille
wheel,
mark?
sir.
Give it a. Oh yeah.
That works. Except for your things getting knocked. Oh shit!
I don't have to go. I didn't lose.
Oh, here comes the hand, the magical hand.
It's
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Here you go, Mark. Why don't you slide
you.
around
I
behind?
need to
Oh, no,
know
you can go
how
right there. You
terrible
can go right
this is
there.
going to be.
Give me one moment. I have
Not
to
a
prepare.
problem.
Oh my.
Safety first.
I'll put on his Ensure hat.
This is part of our sponsored hole today. There will be many advisors chugging this through sippy
I
cups.
don't ask
As
me
they
what the
race
details
each other
are.
on little kitty bikes.
You guys know that I love you all for doing it. This is ridiculous.
You're a trooper, Mark.
This is the one time
This
that
is for complete balanced nutrition. Since I had Del Taco this morning, this is probably a good thing.
this is the one time that I don't want this sped up. Let's just enjoy it at its normal time elapse. You're getting a lot of calories and some protein, I'm assuming.
Can we get a thumbs up, like a thumbs down? How is it?
Keep it down.
How
Keep
is
it
it?
down.
You know when you finish a milkshake,
Yeah.
at the very end it's just all kind of watery and
Yeah.
whatever? That's what it tastes like. That was
That's
good,
not
dude.
bad at all.
That was delicious. Thank you. This versus Smirnoff Ice, I'll drink this
Any
any
day.
day.
Next show, Smirnoff Ice.
We should all know
right.
that I stood up and moved the camera as I stood up, so Mark's got to do it again because I screwed up the recording.
I'll do it. That's tasty.
Well, it's a great thing that camera is
I'm sure it gets it.
getting that.
Okay, I'm not gonna
Okay.
lie. When people come back here later, I'm gonna say you should do intro.
So is
All
that
right.
what we should be drinking today instead of Retireholics beer?
No,
Probably not a lot of it. I don't think that's good for you. Not like
All right.
beer's any better.
Continuing on our theme of valuable content
And
for
healthy
advisors,
beverages.
what we'd like to do today is highlight a specific product and a specific feature of a product. And as I mentioned earlier, Nationwide Financial has something called the Fun Window. And they've had it for quite some time. I mean, at least the last decade, as far
Yeah.
as I know. It started with their resource product and has continued on from resource to Innovator to Clear Advantage to Flex Advantage. And
Innovator Advantage.
What? There's a, oh jeez, you're better than I am.
You've been
There's
removed
another
from
one,
it, yeah.
Innovator Advantage.
Yes, sir.
Those are some creative marketing names nationwide. But so this tool is awesome. I mean, it really is. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to explain it, and I think our producer can link it in our deal. There's a video that they've done that I think is really well done, and we'll talk a bit about the video too. But tell me about the product.
It's almost
what it is.
beyond a tool. It is part of their
Yeah.
product, and that's it. So we all know when you're working with a client and you're setting up the core menu for the plan, you're going to pick a diversified core menu covering all asset classes, making sure that you have each style box covered and you have
And
a
your
prudent
large
core
cap,
menu.
your
You've
mid
got your
cap,
large,
your
your
small
mid, you've got
cap,
your international
your
exposure, so
bonds.
forth. And that's what your participants see. That's what these employees see. That's what they have at their fingertips to invest in. Fund window, see, I almost went back to mutual fund. The fund window is a component of the Nationwide platform that says, hey, you've selected this core menu and this is what the employees will see. But for those who are a little more adventurous, perhaps savvy, who want to be a little more hands-on in investing their retirement dollars, you can click a disclosure, you can go out of your core menu, and you can have access to the other 1,000+ institutional funds that Nationwide is doing the scrubbing on, but the client has not endorsed, and you can now choose to invest in those funds.
And you literally add that fund to your own core menu in a way.
You're right. So you're in your Nationwide login, you're seeing these 20 funds, you say, hey, I want to go into the fund window. You click a disclosure, boom, it bounces you right out. It gives you Morningstar ratings, it breaks everything down, it gives you analytics, it gives you prospectuses, and now you say, okay, I want this specialty fund, or I want gold, something that's not in there. I want an emerging markets fund if my plan sponsor didn't make that available to me. So you have access to almost the world in there, really.
And you put it in a very simple way, but a lot of times you think about something like that conceptually, you think that's probably kind of difficult. There's probably a lot of layers to it. Maybe it's tough to do. Maybe participants really won't know how to do it. It sounds confusing, all those types of things. We understand that people that want to do this are going to go through those steps. So maybe those that are on kind of the fence might be hesitant because it sounds a little difficult. But the video Nationwide has, and I recommend that if an advisor wants to bring that in, show the video because it makes it look so incredibly simple, and it's so robust. The ability you have within that platform, go in and try to do it. It's so simple.
The application for it as well is great to talk about in a point. So each of these providers are looking for ways to make themselves look different. While so much of the education and the materials and the deliverables are all the same, Nationwide's the only one doing this, and the application of it is neat because you're sitting in that meeting and you're saying, hey, I get it, as a plan sponsor, you can't take extra risk, and you need to create a prudent menu for them, and it's got to be scrubbed, you got to have an IPS, but for those that want a little more handy, your executives, your engineers, I mean, up in the Bay Area, we're down in we're Southern California now, but especially in the Bay Area, your engineers dig this.
Right.
They
That's
say, hey,
how
I
I've
can get
seen
out,
it.
boom.
What
That's
about
how I've seen
liability,
it
though?
sold. Yeah. So
So a participant decides to go out. What happens to the sponsor?
Nothing. So that's the beautiful thing about this. What a core menu fund is it's a DIA. They have liability in being prudent in selecting those funds. Once they click the disclosure and say, I understand that I'm stepping outside of what my plan sponsor is endorsing, keep it in mind, these funds are still well scrubbed by Nationwide. It's not 18,000 funds that are there. But now the participant can go out. Fred Reich has even endorsed it. He's written a white paper on it.
The sales pitch to that on this flip side is that it can actually keep plan sponsors safer.
Sure.
Because now they don't have to have a tech fund in their core menu. They don't have to have an emerging markets fund or a health science fund in their core menu. And that's a debatable subject, whether those types of asset classes should be in there in the first place.
Have you seen, I mean, in all your years, have you seen anybody take it to the extreme and say, let's start with, we're going to cover the main nine, and maybe a couple other international funds, bonds, core fixed, so forth, and then just offer mutual fund window, or even take it to the extreme and say just asset allocation, and then mutual fund window?
I out of all the hundreds of clients we have, I have one that does that, and with Nationwide, I think we have over 100 clients. I know one that had just asset allocation funds, but that's kind of another pitch to it is you could just have target dates, and you could put everyone in target dates, and then anyone that doesn't want to be in target date just can use the fund window and go do whatever they want. Now that's one approach, but
I mean, this seems like, I don't know if cutting edge is the right word, but why is no one else doing this?
Why is no one else doing it?
They've been doing it for a long time.
And before we answer that, let's clarify. Everyone has a self-directed brokerage account, and it's very different from this. This is not a self-directed brokerage account.
True.
This is built into the program. You're not going off to TD Ameritrade and buying equities. This is a
shows
fund window.
In your investment.
So let's be clear about that.
It's all integrated.
So Nationwide, in addition to having this, they also offer.
Yeah, right. You can have a brokerage.
It gives you a full, broad spectrum to be either hands off or hands on as a participant.
Yeah, and it's funny that's what they preach. They say, hey, we've got the full spectrum. You're hands off participant. We have money management. We have asset allocation. Hands on, we can go to the extreme of self-directed brokerage, and then right here next to that is this fund window.
Yeah, and so let's answer your question. I have no frigging clue why other vendors don't have this. We know that it did start with the resource product. In the resource product, they had multiple share classes, each what they called tiers. So they had a primary tier, primary plus tier, and each of those tiers or areas had its own wrap. So maybe that played into the ability of the architecture.
That's a great point, because it allowed them to, each of these providers want to have an understanding, their actuaries need to have an understanding of what type of revenue is going to be generated from the funds in the platform.
And 10 years ago, those programs were all built on that type of revenue,
share
what was
class,
coming
yeah.
from a share class, what
12B1
was
sub
coming, it was all
TAs
built
coming
on
through, and Nationwide came out with resource which said, okay, we'll give you an institutional share, but if we do, you're going to have a 60 basis point wrap, and then if you have an A share, you're going to have a 10 basis point wrap.
That might play into
So they levelized it. Now we see many levelizing, many providers out there are doing institutional investing now and saying this is our target revenue that we need, so this is our wrap fee. It allowed, I think at that time, it allowed Nationwide to say, we don't care what fund you go into, so you go to the mutual fund window.
But to Nationwide's defense, they did carry it on into
each of the products.
Into each of those product lines.
But that could be it, Jess. Maybe it's that the other providers want to be able to have an understanding of what revenue is going to be generated from each plan that they bring on. Yeah, and in order to do it, I guess they would have to look at the share class that one individual client was going to fall into, make sure that the mutual fund window had the same share class in it, and then have a wrap fee. That's about the only way.
Bottom line is,
unless you go institutional.
As of today, 2015, no other vendors doing it. No other vendors doing it. And what I want our audience members to know is it's a friggin' great way to go into a point of sale that no one else has, and plan sponsors like it, and it's cool for them. It's good for them.
Well, and it's different. We, the four of us, we've talked about it on the show, but we always chat about you want an apple and a banana, right? And that is something that nobody else is doing. It's an apple in comparison to an orange, to a banana.
Curious to see if anyone's going to follow their trend.
It's been, like JD said,
it's been a long time.
Before I was in the industry, they were doing it.
So check it out, right? The Nationwide product and this fun window is pretty cool. And
the video,
check out the video, because the video is sick. And you could use that video with a plan sponsor.
Yeah. Take it in and show them just how cool it is.
Okay, so in summary, Retireholics, we're going to continue to try to work on our beer drinking skills for sure. Our Smirnoff Ice pounding, no more.
Sure. The person who's responsible for getting that should get it next time.
Check out we talked about this last time, check out our social media. We're on all of them. So check out Retireholics on social media. And don't forget about retireholics.com, Retireholics with a K. I don't know if you know this, but if you misspell it and spell it with a C, you still go there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
even
know that.
better.
We want some feedback too, topics. What do you guys want to hear? What do you guys want to see? When we have these conversations live, when we're out in the field, people will say, oh, I loved this, let's expand on it. Well, tell us what you want to hear about.
You can leave comments on the website. You can leave comments on YouTube. Did you know that you can email Retireholics?
At what?
Retireholics@gmail, dude.
Nice.
Wow.
So you can also email us.
We're getting so
coming up in the
professional.
world. Yeah.
Are we up to 1,000 followers yet?
No.
1,000
We're
views?
670.
I wasn't aware of the Gmail. Did you make that?
Yeah, Retireholics.
I was going to say all these people.
There's producer and IT.
Better go do it right now.
For once,
It's
you're
our
not the
IT
last to
guy.
know.
Oh, yes.
It's our IT guy. So get ready for episode 6. I will be playing golf on the golf course.
Thanks, man.
Well, these guys
We'll be
work our
hosting a
sponsored hole.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see some of you guys out here.
I'm
And
sure,
gals
yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
And thanks for viewing. That's a wrap.
We need a way to close the show.
Yeah, we do.
Like we have the open.
Oh, we forgot about
Well, you know who closes the show? It's Mark's stupid shit he does.
our
at the
version of a
end.
boring webinar.
When you say it's
Oh
stupid,
yeah,
We can add that to
that
the
is kind of how you
spray
close the
painted
show
onto.
usually. This is our version of a boring
Yeah,
That'd be a
webinar.
good tagline.
Yeah,
This
no.
is thank you. This is our version of a boring webinar.
peace.
Boom.
Signing off.
Now get ready to watch Mark do
Mic
some weird
drop.
shit. You know how Mark does his end of the show moment? You should do it like at the dinner later.
In front of everybody?
All hammered.
Need my beauty sleep. It's exhausting trying to make those guys look good, you know.